Selenite is one of the most visually distinctive minerals in the crystal world because it combines translucency, softness, internal light transmission, and fibrous structure into a material that almost seems unreal when properly illuminated. Rather than relying on dramatic flashes or saturated color, selenite expresses itself through diffusion, glow, softness, and luminous calm. It often appears less like a reflective stone and more like solidified light. Geologically, selenite is a transparent to translucent crystalline variety of gypsum, a hydrated calcium sulfate mineral with the chemical formula CaSO 4.2H2O. That .2H2O matters because it means water is physically incorporated into the crystal structure itself. Selenite is literally a water-bearing mineral, which contributes directly to its softness, delicate cleavage behavior, and luminous appearance. The name comes from the Greek word selene, meaning moon, because many specimens display a soft internal sheen that resembles moonlight passing through mist, ice, or fog. Selenite forms most commonly through evaporation in mineral-rich environments. As inland seas, salt basins, caves, or sedimentary waters slowly evaporate, gypsum crystals begin precipitating out of solution. Under stable conditions, these crystals can grow to extraordinary sizes. Some of the largest crystals ever discovered are selenite formations, including the famous Cave of the Crystals in Nacre, Mexico, where enormous gypsum crystals exceed 30 feet in length. The cave remained hot, mineral-rich, and chemically stable for thousands of years, allowing uninterrupted crystal growth on a scale that appears almost architectural. Visually, selenite behaves very differently from most minerals. Instead of producing reflective flashes, it diffuses and transmits light. Fibrous specimens especially create a phenomenon where light seems to travel through the material in soft, glowing bands. This effect is why polished satin spar selenite wands often appear illuminated from within under ordinary room lighting. Selenite appears in many forms, from towers and wands to slabs, bowls, lamps, spheres, moons, charging plates, and carved decorative objects. Regardless of the form, the material tends to preserve the same visual language: softness, glow, translucency, and internal light. Physically, selenite is extremely soft. With a Mohs hardness of only about 2, it scratches easily, can sometimes be marked with a fingernail, and may chip or split if dropped. Water exposure over time can slowly damage or dissolve the material, which surprises many people because the stone often appears visually pure and durable. Because of this, selenite is best handled gently and cleaned with minimal moisture, soft cloths, and careful handling rather than aggressive cleansing methods. Although white and translucent forms are the most familiar, selenite also occurs in several colored varieties created through environmental conditions, sediment interaction, and mineral inclusions. Peach and orange selenite often develop through iron oxide staining, giving the material a warmer and earthier appearance. Golden forms can glow with amber or honey tones created through iron-rich mineralization. Green varieties are rarer and may form through trace elements or mineral-rich growth conditions. Pink forms sometimes appear blush or rose beige through manganese and iron interaction, while grey and tan desert rose gypsum develops when crystals form around sand grains in arid environments, creating rosette-like structures that resemble carved flowers. Metaphysically, selenite is commonly associated with clarity, purification, spaciousness, stillness, calm organization, energetic resetting, and softness rather than force. Rather than symbolizing activation or intensity, it is often understood as a material of reduction and clearing. something that creates the feeling of less noise rather than more stimulation. Because of this, selenite appears constantly in meditation rooms, yoga studios, Reiki spaces, altars, therapy environments, sleep areas, and reflective workspaces. One of its most widespread symbolic uses is as a cleansing or charging surface for other crystals. This association fits naturally with the way the material behaves visually: transmitted light, softness, diffusion, luminous clarity, and the feeling of openness rather than density or heaviness. In visual symbolism, selenite often represents illumination without aggression, softness with structure, calm visibility, quiet organization, internal light, and clarity through stillness. What makes selenite especially compelling is that it does not require dramatic exaggeration to feel extraordinary. Its natural behavior already creates the atmosphere people associate with it. It diffuses light instead of reflecting it harshly. It glows softly instead of flashing intensely. It combines delicacy with structure in a way that feels almost architectural despite its softness. Selenite occupies an unusual middle ground between mineral specimen, decorative object, optical material, architectural light form, and spiritual symbol. Very few minerals move between all of those categories so naturally. Its visual language is ultimately one of softened illumination. It demonstrates that structure does not always need sharpness or intensity to feel powerful. Sometimes clarity appears quietly, through diffusion, translucency, stillness, and light itself becoming form.